I am in mourning right now. I am incredibly upset. I'm usually not as upset, but today is a tough day. We are mourning the loss of a legend, a woman who's meant a lot to this show, someone who has been an inspiration to me, someone who has been an inspiration to millions, to young women and young men and people of, and young non-binary people. Everybody, regardless of their gender, has been impacted by this woman. It is a sad day in America, but a very sad day in Chicago, because we have lost one of the best, an advocate for chaos, a woman whose reign in Chicago came to symbolize chaos in the way that only a Batman villain could, like a Dick Tracy villain. Like, this woman presided over an increase in crime that was just, I mean, it was mind-blowing. Like, the numbers just kept, and she was a petty, vindictive woman. She went to war with limo companies. She wrote bad Yelp reviews. She was nasty to employees. The first lesbian mayor of color in Chicago. Got to put that in there. She's and God love her for that. We appreciate it. But this is a woman, I never thought of her as, I never thought of her sexuality. I never thought of even her race. I thought only of what animates her, the true, spirit of Lori Lightfoot is really a spirit of chaos. And let's take a look at her right now. This is her in all her glory. This is how I'll always remember her. Make this big, please. There she is. Yeah. Vote, vote, vote. Yep. Here she is celebrating Chicago having the highest murder rate in the country. I mean, this woman, oh, yeah. I don't want to lose her. I do not want to lose this woman. I mean, God love her. It's sad. All right, well, people are listening that don't see that they're not getting the benefit of this visual, so we'll turn this down. But God, I mean, there's no one better than Lori Lightfoot. Can we go to her speech when she left? You know, Lori Lightfoot, for those of you who don't know, was the mayor of the city of Chicago, the great city of Chicago, which is descending into a hellscape. How many murders last year in Chicago? Just out of curiosity, if we can get that up. Chicago, violent crime there has been a major problem. There are large. One of my favorite stories was like there's large gangs of teenagers, groups of teenagers just running through, the midtown of Chicago, the Miracle Mile, whatever you call it, and they're just robbing couples and just creating chaos. I think they're working for Lightfoot. Like, I think the kids are, because here's what she's got to do now. Lori, now that she has been evicted from her position, she's been taken out. Lori now has to wage a war against the city from the outside, because for many years she was waging a war against the city from the inside. But now she's from the outside, has to make sure the city stays as crime-ridden and filthy from the outside. She's just got to launch attacks, coordinated attacks. The year of 2021 ended as one of the most violent on record in Chicago. A rise in the number of shootings left more people dead than in any single year in a quarter century, according to statistics released by the police on Saturday. 797 homicides, 25 more than were recorded in 2020. So about 800 homicides. How many a day? If there's 365 days in a year.
Almost like 3 a day.
Yeah, there's about 3 people a day in Chicago checking out. And You know, this was also, you got to remember, Lori Lightfoot went wild with the vaccine. She was threatening people, saying, if you don't take the vaccine, your time has come. We'll put you in jail. You know, we're going to find you. Again, this was the language of a villain. This was the language of like an all-powerful mob boss. It was not a governor. Here we go. Yeah, she did not fuck around when it came to the vaccine. She was like Nazi-ish. She wanted everybody to get it. And if you didn't get it, she did that whole thing. Get up that thing where she goes, we'll put you in jail.
Yeah.
That was my favorite one, where she goes, we'll put you in jail. She goes, we will put you in jail. And it was just like you saw, that was like the zenith of state power during the pandemic, when people were just coming right out and saying, if there is anything you do that we disagree with, we are going to put you in jail. And that was like, I remember people sending that to me going like, this is going to really like be a huge problem for this woman. And it was, you know, people, you play that back now, it seems so insane. Yep. Here it is right here. This is Lori Lightfoot.
We will shut you down. We will cite you. And if we need to, we will arrest you and we will take you to jail. Period.
Period.
There should be nothing unambiguous about that.
You mean nothing ambiguous,
Don't
sweetie?
make us treat you like a criminal. But if you act like a criminal and you violate the law and you refuse to do what is necessary to save lives in the city in the middle of a pandemic, we will take you to jail.
Get up,
period.
get up when she did Rona Destroyer. This is a montage of Lori Lightfoot. I am so sad to be losing this woman. I hope she runs for governor. I pray that Lori Lightfoot runs for governor.
Well, before we go, looks like trick-or-treating will be happening in Chicago this year. Yeah, that's Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot coming out in full costume, cape and mask as the Rona, as in Corona Destroyer, handing out candy to reporters and staff at her daily news conference. Trick-or-treaters will be asked to stay in groups of 6 or fewer there, avoid sticking their hands into any candy bowls, and of course, wear a mask with a mask over your mask.
Man, she's a symbol of the pandemic, isn't she, Lori Lightfoot? I think now COVID's finally over. I mean, I know the state of emergency was lifted in LA, but with Lori Lightfoot leaving, it's like the state, like it really is over. This is finally done with Lori Lightfoot being voted out. This is sad. Let's look at her concession speech here. She doesn't even seem present in her own body for the concession speech. Again, so much mayhem, so much chaos, so bloody. This woman was the ultimate villain. This is the type of mayor Chicago should have. It's one of the most corrupt cities in the world, and there's absolutely no way it should be run by anyone less than a complete, utter crime boss, which is what she is. She is like, you know, somebody who from like the Ninja Turtles would have to invade her lair. Let's see how she conceded the election.
We were fierce competitors in these last few months, but I will be rooting and praying for our next mayor to deliver for the people of the city for years to come. I'm grateful that we worked together to remove a record number of guns off our streets, reduced homicides, and started making real progress on public safety.
Well, she didn't reduce homicide. I mean, but who cares at this point? And I don't know what guns she's talking about that are off the street. Certainly not the 900, murders. She didn't really reduce any homicides, but now she can live with her wife and be happy and she was the mayor of Chicago. She'll always be able to tell people, like, later on, she'll be on some like lesbian cruise and they'll be like, what did you do? And she'll go, I was the mayor of Chicago. And you go, Lori was the mayor of Chicago? She just cheated at cards. Lori was the mayor of Chicago because corruption is the DNA of Chicago and it runs through this woman's veins. No matter what she does, any time in her life. She will always try to lie. And this is what I love about her so much, is that no matter what Lori Lightfoot, I mean, she literally just said, what about homicide? She goes, we decreased homicides. They were at the highest level in 25 years. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. She'll always try to lie first. That's what I love about her. It's her, you can tell when you look at her, she's burning inside because she doesn't know what's true anymore because she's lied so many times. Did you ever see the thing where the guy, he just lists everything in Chicago? It's Lori Lightfoot. She refuses to answer a question, and it's great. You have a guy who basically comes up and goes, here's the issue. The crime's up. This is up. The companies are leaving Chicago. Nobody wants to be here anymore. And Lori Lightfoot stands there and goes, I'm just not going to answer that question. You got to remember the fashion choices, too. She wore these big balloon pants. She dressed up during the St. Patrick's Day parade. They were saying on Twitter that she looked like that movie Leprechaun in the Hood. They were saying she looked like Leprechaun in the Hood. She was trolling everyone, or she wasn't. She had these weird balloon pants, these baggy, like Janko jeans, but they were pants that she would wear, and they like never fit her. This is a kid who dressed up as her. But I mean, I'm really going to be sad to see her go, man. Yeah. Try to get that up where she refuses to answer the question, where she literally just looks at the guy and she goes, I disagree with your assessment entirely. And he just listed facts about what was happening in Chicago. And she goes, I just disagree with your assessment entirely. But I mean, it's sad, man. It's sad to lose her because she became such a symbol of the type of political leader that we have in America now, where truth is irrelevant, okay? This is great. Lightfoot now screams. This was another one, but this is also great. Here she is screaming at a reporter over a question about crime. God, I love her.
Nonsense. You and the other right-wing nuts can try to characterize it any possible way.
Excuse me, is that appropriate?
Yeah, it is.
Is that appropriate?
Name Kelly.
Thank you. Mayor Lightfoot, the people that I speak with in Chicago every day tell me that they're very frustrated with your lack of a plan to combat violent crime. Mm-hmm. They tell me that they're very frustrated with your rhetoric that sounds more like you support or sympathize with the
So you may not have heard the admonition at the beginning of this press conference, and frankly,
I haven't spoken as long as...
Hold on, sir. It's specific to you. Ask a question, and I'd be happy to respond. But if you continue to come in here and spout a lot of nonsense and rhetoric that's not a question and not acting like a journalist, then I'm not going to have any time for you. You had a whole room of people that you're holding up by not asking a question. And I know you like to film me, and then you like to go on Fox News.
Every other reporter here is filming you.
Yeah, so
I'm not the only reporter filming
what I
you.
want you to do is ask a question, sir. Don't give me your right-wing nonsense and spewing of facts that are completely untethered from the reality. Just ask a question. That's all I'm asking you. Ask a question so we can move on.
Well, I'm not the only reporter filming
Ask
you.
a question.
Right.
What's your question?
The obvious question is simply this. There are numerous violent crimes here in the city of Chicago, right? Last night, a teenager was shot in the head on our beautiful lakefront. People around the city, the state, and not only the country, but around the world.
I'm going to ask you one more
View
time.
Chicago.
I'm going to ask you one more time. Ask a question, or we're moving
She's
on.
like, yeah, I shot that bitch. They're like, saw a teenager was shot. Lori's like, on my orders, I had it done. I'm the boss. This is when get up Oswald Cobblepot running for mayor of Gotham City. This is when the Penguin ran Gotham City. Like, Lori Lightfoot's staring at him. He's like, he goes, I don't understand. You don't have a plan to combat the crime. She's like, yeah, I am the criminal. I wonder if we can play this or if YouTube's going to, like, send someone to our homes. getting so bad over there, you can't do anything. They'll send people after you in the street, YouTube. If you play the wrong thing, they'll call and threaten your family. We're trying to stay there. Anyway, don't play it. It's just, you get it, folks, if you've seen Batman Returns. The point is that Lightfoot symbolized a type of politician where they didn't even try to lie in a way that would make the citizenry feel comfortable. This is an important transition. It's actually an important transition in the way things are kind of crumbling. When someone like her basically went out, warts and all, imperfect, came out and was like, listen, I'm kind of a criminal. So I'm not going to sit in judgment of other people that were criminals. And now listen, you have many, many liars that occupy offices all over the place, from Congress to the governors. But there was something special about this woman in my heart. I like petty people. And when she did the thing, and you could go back and listen to that old episode where she ratted on her limo company, she literally made up that the driver of the limo company went and used the bathroom in her home. And then the company goes, we have cameras. He didn't enter your house once. She's such a vindictive liar, even on a tiny, small scale, this infinitesimal scale of trying to get a limo driver fired. She is just such a treat. She's such an utter treat. There's something so comforting to me about her complete, obvious disdain for anyone who called her out on anything. Anyone that would mention a fact about Chicago, the shootings, the murders, the crime. She hated it. She was like, don't bring your propaganda here. And I love her fucking weird voice she had. She had this weird, breathy voice where she'd be like, listen to me. If you have a question, ask a question. Don't bring your Fox propaganda here. Don't bring your propaganda. It's this strange kind of, her voice box almost didn't want to lie. And she had to force the breath through it because her body was shutting down some of the lies that she was telling. And what did she get? 16% of the vote? God, Lori.
It was bad. It was at least.
It was bad. She got trounced. 17.1%. Who are those people? Just committed criminals. Who are the 17.1% of people that voted for Lori Lightfoot? Every measurable standard, Chicago is falling into it's a hellscape. And 17.1% of people, what was her slogan? Did Lightfoot have a slogan? Did Lori have a slogan? Everything, even her name's amazing. Lori Lightfoot. It's just the alliteration, Lori Lightfoot. There's just no one better. And I'm sad to see her go. Of all the people we shit talk on this show, there was nobody that I loved and had a personal affinity for more than Lori Lightfoot. Mm-hmm. She just fit. The fedoras, she dressed like a gangster. Again, somebody like Dick Tracy would have to Lori Lightfoot epitomized. She looked like a gangster. She was a gangster. She lied. She, obfuscated. She wouldn't answer questions. And all around her, things just totally fell apart because she was a petty, vindictive tyrant that would go to war with people in her inner circle, and she would fight these tiny, small battles instead of focusing on real things that could actually help people. And there's no better version of a politician than that to me. Is just somebody who's it's all out in the open what they do. That's what made Lori Lightfoot so special to me. She was so bad at concealing it. She almost had no desire to conceal it. She just thought somehow it was going to be okay. You've all, seen a kid or maybe have been the kid who shows up to class without homework and has no lie, nothing prepared. They just go, And the teacher goes, you have nothing? And they go, yeah, that was Lori Lightfoot. Yep. No dog ate my homework. No, I left it in the car. No, it was 100%. I don't have it, and I don't remember you even asking it. asking me to do it, and I don't know what your problem is, and I'm just going to stare at you from my seat until you give up.